What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to some more max difficulty oxygen not included action. As you can see, this is just blah. I don't even know how else to describe it, just blah. It's just such a mess. And we're gonna go over some things not to do if you're building this in your base. Some things that will make your life much easier. Just trying to get a timer going here because I forgot to do that prior to starting the video, rather. But I ran into quite a lot of issues. Not during the building process, that was easy as heck, but once I got it built, there were some things that I figured out that I didn't know before. One, you can see I'm pumping out some sour gas here. This happens because, well, this happens when you manually override this when the oil hasn't fully turned to petroleum, because the petroleum floating on top is just a tiny amount. It's just like, I don't even know. It's like in the grams, I think. So when you open it, when the petroleum isn't fully converted, it's not one large mass. It's kind of two separate liquids. So when the petroleum rolls over this hot tile, it actually instantly vaporizes into sour gas. So if you're going to manually override this system to stop pumping oil in, what you can do is go to this buffer timer, set it to 200 seconds. That way when the petroleum fully converts and then drops down, oil's not going to be introduced right away, and then you can come over here and you can just change it from below to above, and then it will disable the automation signal, stopping any oil from further entering the system. And then you can open the door just by flicking this on, then back over. You just go like below, and then once it automates, or once it activates, go back to above, and it'll trigger the automation signal. So, steam turbines, as you can see, I've got a liquid seal for every single area, so I can get into it and kind of monitor it. Now, originally this one wasn't here, but I did the manual override and I had some sour gas conversion, so I knew I had to get in here and pop that. Also, I built this reservoir out of iron, and I had not vacuumed this out, so the liquid inside was transferring its heat to the air, which was in turn transferring its heat to the reservoir. So when I started to pre-cool or preheat the oil, it overheated the reservoir, so I had to get in here, not only vacuum pump it out, but also I made it out of steel just in case, just kind of double up on our security there. One of the major problems with this particular setup is that I'm using a gold volcano, and because of that, I'm using gold here. They both have the same solidification point. So once it gets down to like just a few degrees of difference, as you can see, the gold here is 1063.5. Okay, so we're barely like on the verge of melting. And this one over here is 1070. But look at the temperature. This is times 3. It doesn't change, man. It just doesn't change. And that's because that's how the heat transfer works in oxygen not included, and probably in real life too. I'm not actually 100% sure. I'm no genius, but basically things transfer more heat faster, or not more heat, but they just transfer heat faster based on the difference. So something is, if there's a bigger gap in between their temperatures, it will transfer heat faster, and that temperature transfer slows as they come closer to the same temperature, if that makes any sense. So yeah, we had our gold up here. We just couldn't get it to solidify because of that reason, and then it eventually got and hit our auto sweeper here. So we just deconstructed the auto sweeper, and if you're using a gold volcano for the setup, what you're gonna have to do is set up on the other side some sort of heat dump. So when it gets to this point where it's just not really working anymore, you need some way to solidify it so the auto miner can dig it out, or your dupes can dig it out, or whatever. So I'm starting to set up another steam turbine over here. Let me just we need more tungsten. No, why do I always need more tungsten? Never enough tungsten. Okay, yeah, we're vacuuming out this sour gas, which takes years apparently. So none of this is running right now, not even the steam turbines, because I've got this disabled so it won't drop down here, because this is still a vacuum. I was able to save that, but I don't want sour gas getting into here because it's just going to be more area. It's going to take longer to pump out, because as you can see, it's like a vacuum. It takes forever for the sour gas to like get sucked up into this area. I don't know why. Another issue with this is actually based on the build that I did. So these window tiles, these diamond window tiles, I thought that they would be better to use than tungsten because they're not as quick to transfer heat. And I didn't want the oil overheating, but after going back into debug and messing around with the build a little more, I found that tungsten up to here works fine. I'm going to keep this window tile right here that actually does the transferring because I don't want to have any more issues in the future. Maybe I'll toy around with a tungsten tile there, but tungsten up to the gold I think is really good. And then also tungsten on these steam turbines is going to be more efficient than the window tiles because it will transfer the heat faster. Also the doors, I made the doors out of steel. They should be wolframite, at least the doors that transfer heat. So these three right here should be wolframite. This one doesn't really matter. As you can see, I made it out of iron. But one thing I'm starting to do is kind of tunnel my way in here, and I'm going to replace this door with wolframite. I'm going to place all these tiles with tungsten. And then this one's going to be, I don't know, I might just leave it as steel, honestly, because I don't see how I can effectively get in here without, I mean, I guess I could kind of put a liquid lock down here and then come in that way. That's what I'd have to do. I would just have to put a liquid lock down here and tunnel away into this door. So maybe I'll do that. I don't know. It's not super critical. It does speed up the cooling process, which in turn lets more petroleum through, so it increases the throughput. But I don't know. I've got a lot of other things that I want to accomplish in this base, and this system, because of all the mistakes I made, it's kind of holding me up on that, because this was supposed to be supplying power and petroleum over to my plastic over here, which I do have set up and it is functioning, but we're not there yet. So we've had a lot of issues. So if you're building this system, let's go over some key points. Use tungsten tiles, except for this one right here. Use wolframite doors for any heat transfer. If you have a gold volcano as your heat source, make sure you have an alternate way to dump heat from the gold once it cools down to a point where it doesn't really transfer anymore, which is around its solidification point, or freeze point, I should say. Use a steel reservoir or vacuum pump this area out prior to, setting it up. Never manually override the system if the oil has not fully converted to petroleum, because you're going to get sour gas if that happens. Unless this tile is like 127 degrees like it is now, then you'll get sour gas. So I guess make sure this tile is cool enough to where it won't overheat the petroleum. So below 400 degrees or something, I don't know. Something like that. But yeah, and then liquid seal on each one is a nice thing to have just in case anything does go wrong. If you have an iron volcano, this won't be a problem, because iron solidifies at like 1400 degrees, and that's still plenty hot. So you'll actually have the opposite problem. Your RoboMiner will be mining out too soon, so you'll have to figure out some kind of automation to stop that, which you could just do a couple filters on the hydro sensor here, so when there's no more liquid, the filters start popping, maybe like, I don't know, a couple cycles before it actually mines all that out. So those are the problems. So if you're building this in your own base, you have some things to go on, what not to do and what to do. So yeah, we're going to be setting up another steam turbine here. Once all this is like set up, then I can come in here and I can pop a wolframite door right here. I just realized is we might want to deconstruct this first. Yeah, we're going to want to deconstruct that first. But other than that, everything's still messy. I'm messing with some automation here, but ooh, I forgot. Okay, so we can get rid of this. We can get rid of this. We can get rid of Orgate. So I was trying to trigger this alternate route for oil. So if we don't have any preheated oil in the pipe, then we're going to pump regular oil in here. But it's way too, like it's before the reservoir. It should be after. And I was like doing all this complicated stuff, and then I realized, dude, I have a sensor built right next to the shutoff. Why am I not using that? Literally all I have to do is connect these two wires. So that's what I'm doing right now. Actually, we can just do this. Boom. I've already got the NOT gate and everything. So we just go like this. Something like that. Or gates being deconstructed. So yeah. Once all that gets done, we'll have ourselves a merry little Christmas. Everything should be good. Why did I turn this pump off? Oh, I didn't. I just automated it differently. Okay. So yeah, this system is wonky as heck. I just slapped it in there to get this thing working properly so I could get preheated oil in here, but it's not functioning as well as I would like it to. So this is off. So if we ever run out of oil on this part of the pipe here after the reservoir, right next to the shaft, that means we're like completely out. Then this shutoff will turn on and let just the regular oil through, non-preheated. I also thought about using the excess heat from this to preheat the oil, but I'm preheating with refineries right now, and I know that's not like a permanent thing because eventually I'm gonna have enough steel to where I don't have to worry about it. But that's a long ways down the road. That's a long ways down the road, so we can use the oil refineries to preheat right now. And I've just got it set on a loop too. Temperature sensor at, well, that's not it. Temperature sensor at 230 degrees right now. So everything's made out of steel, so I don't want it getting up to the point of overheating. So that's the deal. Also, I've thought of a way to improve my water cooling after seeing a couple builds on the forums, and it just clicked. It's like, why didn't I do this? I'm so like dumb. Why didn't I do this? And all I really didn't do is make this aqua tuner out of steel and hook a turbine up to it. Done. Well, all the other stuff will have to be steel as well, but yeah. And then all this cooling is like unnecessary, and I can put my Weezwarts elsewhere. It's so exciting. I can't wait to get that set up. But that's like, I gotta fix the freaking petroleum factory before I do all that. Also, I don't know if I covered this in a previous video. I remember saying that there's like hot packets, like you see this one's 30 degrees, that were coming out. And I've set up a filter since then that will filter out the hot packets, and well, none of those were hot, but it'll filter them out and then recirculate them back into the line to get cold. But the reason that this was happening is because these what are they called? These chutes, I guess, are too short. So it allows too much water in, and then this line will be full after one gets cooled, and it'll come up to here, but it won't be able to go through the shutoff because it's already full, so it'll just let the hot packet out. And I'm sure a lot of people already realize that, but I realized it like episodes ago, and I kept thinking like, yeah, I need to address this in the next episode, but I always forgot. So there's that. But yeah, we just need to get a turbine set up and change all this to steel, and my cooling will be sufficient. Plus, it'll generate a lot of power, right? So that's nice. As you can see, my cool water rather, has gone down quite a bit, and that's mainly because I've started producing bristleberries again. When I had that big stock, I actually stopped production because my fridges were full. As you can see, I have the last fridge here set up to my shutoff here. So I should really connect these to the lights as well, but it's not that big a deal. So if these fridges are full, well, if this last fridge specifically is full, then it will shut off the water and shut off the grills so that all of my stuff stops working, basically, and then I'll start to build up a little water. So these two fridges in the middle, one of them I've set to sleet wheat because there's tons of sleet wheat apparently, and that's the only one that houses sleet wheat. This one is for all of my like raw ingredients that need to be cooked, so bristleberries, meal ice, meat, all that. I don't really have any meal ice. Muckert, mushroom, nutrient bar. And then these three fridges, two in the front and the one in last position here, are for all of the like cooked ingredients, barbecue, bristleberry, and then the last one houses vitamin chews as well. I have added a second Wheezewort over here to this spawn room, and it seems to be bringing the temperature down, but I don't know. It's not really crucial that I get this to a cool level. It's just important that the machinery doesn't overheat because it is supplying my Atmos suits, and if we get some overheating issues, well, we're going to have big problems. We have finished our second apartment, although I don't have a bed in here yet because I don't have any plastic production. It's funny. It's funny. I still don't have plastic production. This far in, it's like, come on, dude. How do you not have plastic production at this point? How? How is that even possible? Cycle 592, I have one single polymer press that isn't even functioning because I'm not getting any petroleum over here because my petroleum factory is shut down. Oh, this colony, dude. It's going down the drain quick, but we're going to pull it back. We just got to get this guy up and running. This always happens with like new systems. There's, you can't think of everything when you're designing them. So you're going to have roadblocks. You're going to have little bumps in the road that you got to try and fix. So once all of this sour gas has exited, actually, yeah, I don't want to let sour gas in here because this is still 1,000 degrees and it'll start heating the rest of this place to 1,000 degrees. So we have to wait for this to be vacuumed out, which, as you see, is taking years because it just doesn't 340 micrograms. It just doesn't pull it fast enough. So just got to wait for that to happen, and then we can dig out, replace all this with tungsten. The turbine tiles are probably not getting replaced, even though it would help. I could potentially dig up here with a ladder, pop in here, and not let any steam out. I actually started this thing before I had it completely closed off, and it still functions, but I was losing some water, so I don't know if I want to take that risk. Because if we lose too much water, we're going to have to pump this entire thing out. Well, actually, we wouldn't. We would just have to add more water, but I don't know. I don't really want to deal with it, to be honest. I don't know if I mentioned, but I did add a temp shift plate behind the sensors here that seems to heat the oil up a little bit quicker. We've actually dropped this oil level quite a bit. It used to be like up to here. It was like, I don't know, 100 cycles ago maybe, so... Boom, 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 boom. So maybe 300 more cycles, and this will. Okay, that's quite a bit. It's probably less though, because it kind of goes into a funnel, so it's gonna last the less and less time as we drain it. So we do need to look into getting this guy popped, which, I mean, we could build the oil well on it right now. Do we want to though? We probably want to use. I don't know if we want to use steel. I don't think we need to, do we? It's not going to get that hot. I don't know. Maybe I'll test that and debug later. Alright, what do we got going here? This pipe. We'll just leave it for now because why not? Is our oil even preheated? Let's see. 100 degrees, 120 degrees. So I guess it's a little bit preheated. Definitely not the oil in here, yeah. that's not even being used. So all of the oil that's flowing through this right now that's being preheated is just dropping down. So it makes sense that none of that would be happening. Hurry up, pump! 200 micrograms. Come on. You're killing me, Smalls. Still no Paku in our little Paku place, but that's okay. We did finish the cooling loop for this up here, but we don't have any petroleum over here, which is what I want to pump into it. So it's honestly, I don't know how it's cooling down. Oh, I guess we have the manual airlock, so it's cooling down via heat transfer from that. Man, I don't know if I'll ever get to set this iron volcano up, man. It's like, it seems so far away. It seems so far away that it probably won't happen. And I know we've got, is that another cold biome? It is. Oh, more waste words. Woohoo. Let's actually dig up then. Sounds good to me. Let's go with, that's fine. Just do something like that. That'll be fine. So let's look at the meteor damage here. It's starting to pelt through in places. Down here, we're gonna start melting our gold and stuff. Well, not melting, but over here, holy! Oh, stop. That is, I need like steel. I need bunker tiles, man. I mean, we got the water lock here, so we're not gonna like be losing gases, but I mean, it's gonna turn all this into steam, and then it's gonna be vented out into space, which kind of sucks. I don't have the steel production right now to really do anything about this, unfortunately. Huh. I was just wondering, if a meteor hits wolframite and like smashes it right into this little chunk, does it lose its mass, or is that only when mining it out? Interesting thought. But we're out of time for this video. I tried to catch everything up. I think I covered everything. And yeah, we're just working on that factory. That's going to be the primary focus until we get it fixed and up and running and producing for us. So if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, feedback, you want to call me a name, I don't care. Put it in the comments below. Subscribe for more videos. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.